Hey everyone. Please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show. One of the things I love about the world of Greyhawk is that it shows rather than tells. And I want to talk about what that means today on Greyhawk Grognard. So, in modern day, since the 90s, say, it has been the case that most settings are very detailed, and there are an endless stream of supplements describing little details about different aspects of of the setting. This is true of Greyhawk too. After Gary Gygax left the company, you have guidebooks for kingdoms and so forth. And when you get to something like the Forgotten Realms, there are just innumerable novels and source books and things like that tend to detail every nook and cranny. Whereas in the early days of Greyhawk, and I'm talking about the folio and the gold box, up through the From the Ashes box set, but not the stuff after From the Ashes. It was very much a different story because you had the broad outlines of the world of Greyhawk, right? You have a guide that gives you at most 2 paragraphs of detail for an entire kingdom, and you have this. Of course, you have the beautiful map that's behind me, but that's about it. You have these very high level, detailed views of things, and what detail you did have was broad, but when you did have specific details, it was evocative, right? It wasn't designed to fill in an entire encyclopedia on a particular subject, right? It was just like one line that was written in such a way that it would spark the imagination of the game master and allow him to fill in all the details that entailed. Um, and the way that the world of Greyhawk was developed, was fleshed out, was filled in, wasn't through supplements that told you about all the things that were in this particular area or told you about things that were in about a specific subject. It showed you what was going on in a particular area or on a specific subject, and that's the difference. So, to take my favorite example, we have the Temple of Elemental Evil, which in just a couple of pages, not even a couple of pages. I think the section for the Dungeon Master, we have the secret history of the temple, and that is a little more than half a page on this thing. And it gives you a whole wealth of detail on what's going on with the history in the area of the Cron Hills, the geopolitical situation with Ayuz and Verbabank and the elves and everything else. And you get hints that there are Drow involved. And there's just a wealth of information in that one little thing. And as you go through the text, there's other little hints here and there about some of the history that's going back 10 years into this whole thing. It gives you the not only the geopolitical situation in the Flyness, but also it gives you hints as to the broader theological situation, what's going on with the different gods and demigods involved. Another one that does this really well is the Lost Caverns of Sajkant. It gives you this whole idea that the Perrinland was at one time conquered by the Witch Queen, and none of this is alluded to in the gold box. It's all here. So it's just this one, and it's just like, it's not even a whole page of explanation. It's literally 3 paragraphs, and it tells you all this grand history, but it just hits the high notes, and it lets you fill in all the rest. It's showing you what's going on, and the only reason it's in here is because it's directly relevant to the adventure, right? So you have this idea that you can put in this extra layer of detail when it's relevant, but it's still not so detailed. It's not like a big information dump. They're not dropping an encyclopedia on you that is relevant to the adventure and yet still manages to build and add on to the setting as a whole. And that's a lot different than setting out a source book on Parentland and giving you the entire history and NPC stat blocks and stuff like that. This way, you have this idea of what happened, but you as the GM are encouraged to then take that and run with it and expand on it. And that's what I love about that. And the entire world of Greyhawk during Gary Gygax's tenure seems to have been designed with that philosophy in mind, right? It is showing, it's not telling. Any expansions that were done of the setting, aside from the jump between the folio and the gold box, because the gold box did admittedly add some more detail. It added gods and weather and counter tables and stuff like that. But even then, it wasn't this huge, vast encyclopedia that just got dropped on you. Even the details that were added in that second effort, the gold box, were still sparse enough, still followed that same philosophy, that only the broad, big sweeps of the concepts were included. Whereas then they were intended to inspire the DM to fill in the details and to take those sparks of imaginative ideas and run with them in some direction. And I, as a DM, might run in this direction, and somebody else might take that very same line and run in a completely different direction. And that's what it's meant when Gary says to make the setting your own, because you take this skeleton that they've provided and these couple of ornaments that they've hung on the tree, these adventures that they've hung on the tree, and take that and flesh it out and fill it out yourself, which I think is a direct difference to what happened later on, where source books became the norm, and you had to fill in all the details because the DM would tend to expect that at that point, because for whatever reason, the game community changed. The idea of what a setting was supposed to be like changed, and it changed from being the sparse kind of overview with a few bits of evocative detail, and turned into something where everything was expected to be detailed, every little nook and cranny. And I think Ed Greenwood had a lot to do with that, because that's how he worked. For years and years before there even was D&D, he was starting to invent his Forgotten Realms setting. And he had boxes and boxes and files of all these details of every little bit and bob. And a lot of people like that. Especially today, people want that level of detail. And I'm not sure how that turned from the one to the other, but turn it did. And I don't say that one is better or worse than the other, but from my perspective, the way I run a game, the way I DM, I personally prefer the sparse approach, because I love to fill in those details. I want to fill in all the kinds of different specialty clerics and stuff like that. I want to be able to do that. And for my game, and I offer it for everybody in case anybody wants to borrow what I've done and to put it in their game. But I'm not saying that your campaign is somehow lacking if you don't use my specialty cleric of I use. It's just what I've done, and I put it out there for other people to riff on. So, I think that that's one of the key elements that makes Greyhawk is that when it was originally done, it was originally made as a scaffold, and you were expected as the DM to fill it in, to make it your own. And I miss that aspect of the setting, but I still love it. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Am I off base? Let me know. And hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you all later.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.